My name is Celestine Aurora Beaumont. I am 72 years old. I have lived a long life filled with love, sacrifice, and hard work. I raised 4 children by myself after my husband died in a factory accident when I was only 35 years old. I worked as a housekeeper during the day and a hospital janitor at night. I slept 4 hours a night for 20 years. I went without new clothes, without vacations, without rest, so my children could have better lives. And I succeeded. All 4 of my children went to college. All 4 of them became successful. Doctors, lawyers, business owners. They had big houses and nice cars and beautiful families. I was so proud of them, so proud of what they had become. But pride can blind you. It can make you see what you want to see instead of what is really there. It can make you trust people who do not deserve to be trusted. Even your own children. Let me tell you about the day my world fell apart. It was a Tuesday afternoon in March. The sky was gray and heavy with clouds that promised rain. I was sitting in my living room, the same living room where I had raised my children, when my son Prescott came to visit. Prescott was my eldest, 52 years old, a successful corporate lawyer with a big firm downtown. He drove a Mercedes and wore suits that cost more than I used to make in a month. He had always been ambitious, always reaching for more. I thought his ambition was a good thing. I thought it meant he would go far in life. I was right. He did go far, but he left his heart somewhere along the way. "Mama, we need to talk," Prescott said as he sat down across from me. "Of course, baby. What is on your mind?" He did not look at me. He stared at his hands, at the expensive watch on his wrist, at anything but my face. "Mama, I have been thinking about your situation, about this house, about your future." "My situation? What do you mean?" "You are getting older, Mama. You are 72 years old. You live alone in this big house. What if something happens to you? What if you fall? What if you get sick?" "I am fine, Prescott. I have been taking care of myself for a long time." "That is the problem. You should not have to take care of yourself anymore. You should be somewhere safe, somewhere with people who can look after you." I felt a chill run down my spine. I knew where this conversation was going. I had heard stories from my friends at church, stories about children who wanted to put their parents away so they could take their things. But surely Prescott would not do that to me. Surely my own son would not betray me like that. "What are you saying, Prescott?" He finally looked at me. His eyes were cold, calculating, the eyes of a stranger. "I am saying you need to go to a nursing home, Mama. You do not need this house. You do not need all these things. You just need a bed and 3 meals a day. The nursing home can provide that." I stared at him. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. "A nursing home? Prescott, this is my home. I have lived here for 40 years. This is where I raised you and your brothers and sister. This is where your father and I built our life." "Daddy is dead, Mama. He has been dead for almost 40 years. It is time to move on." The cruelty of his words hit me like a slap. Move on, from the love of my life, from the home we had built together. "I am not going to a nursing home," I said firmly. "This is my house. I am staying here." Prescott sighed. It was a condescending sigh, the kind of sigh you give a child who does not understand. "Mama, you do not have a choice. I have already spoken with the others. Marlena, Quentin, and Delane, we all agree. It is time for you to go to a nursing home." All of them, all 4 of my children had discussed this behind my back, had made decisions about my life without even asking me. "You spoke to your brothers and sister about putting me in a nursing home, without talking to me first. We knew you would be difficult about it. We knew you would fight us, so we made the decision together." The decision about MY life, without MY input. Prescott stood up. He walked to the window and looked out at the yard where he used to play as a child. "Mama, let me be straight with you. This house is worth a lot of money. Real estate in this neighborhood has skyrocketed. We could sell it for close to $1 million. There it was, the truth. It was not about my safety. It was not about my well-being. It was about money. "You want to sell my house?" "It is not really your house, Mama. Daddy built this house. And when you die, it will go to us anyway. We just want to access that value now instead of waiting. Instead of waiting for me to die, you mean? Prescott had the decency to look uncomfortable, but only for a moment. That is not what I said. That is exactly what you said. You want to sell my house out from under me and dump me in a nursing home so you can have your inheritance early. Mama, you are being dramatic. Am I? Then tell me, Prescott, what happens to me after you sell my house? Where do I live? What do I have? Prescott turned to face me, and then he said the words that broke my heart forever. You do not need anything, Mama. You are old. You do not need a house. You do not need money. You do not need possessions. You just need a bed to sleep in and food to eat. The nursing home will give you that. Go to a nursing home. That is all you need. I sat there in silence. My son, the child I had sacrificed everything for, had just told me that I did not need anything, that I should give up my home, my independence, my dignity, and go sit in a nursing home waiting to die. So he could have my money. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw him out of my house and never speak to him again. But I did not do any of those things. Instead, I did something that surprised us both. I did not argue. Now, before I tell you what happened next, I need to ask you something. Are you with me? Are you feeling what I felt in that moment? If you are, I need you to do something for me right now. I need you to subscribe to this channel. Press that subscribe button right now. It is completely free, and it tells me that you want more stories like this. Stories about real people facing real struggles. Also, press the like button. That thumbs up helps more people find this channel. It helps me reach more mothers, more grandmothers, more people who have been hurt by the ones they were supposed to trust. And do not forget the notification bell. That little bell icon is so important. When you turn it on, you will get a message every time I post a new story. You will never miss anything. One more thing. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Are you from Houston, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C.? Maybe you are watching from Canada or Ghana or the Bahamas or somewhere else around the world. I want to know who is here with me. I want to build a family of strong people who support each other. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. Let me tell you how I ended up in that living room, hearing my son tell me I did not need anything. I was born in a small town in Louisiana in 1952. My parents were hardworking people. My father was a carpenter. My mother was a seamstress. We did not have much, but we had love. We had faith. We had each other. I was the youngest of 7 children, 4 boys and 3 girls. I learned early that nothing in life comes easy. You have to work for everything you get. When I was 18 years old, I met a man named Thaddeus Beaumont. He was tall and handsome, with a smile that could light up a room. He worked at the furniture factory on the edge of town. He was kind and gentle and everything I had ever dreamed of. We got married when I was 20. We moved to the city for better opportunities. Thaddeus got a job at a big manufacturing plant. I worked as a housekeeper for a wealthy family. We saved every penny we could. We dreamed of owning our own home, a place where we could raise our children, a place that would be ours forever. When I was 28, we finally saved enough for a down payment. We bought a small house in a working-class neighborhood. It was not much, but it was ours. Thaddeus fixed it up on weekends. He built a porch. He planted a garden. He turned that little house into a home. By then, we had 3 children. Prescott was the oldest. Then came Marlena. Then Quentin. A few years later, our youngest, Delane, was born. Life was good. Hard, but good. Thaddeus worked long hours at the plant. I worked as a housekeeper during the day and started taking night shifts cleaning at the hospital to earn extra money. We were tired all the time, but we were building something, creating a future for our children. Then tragedy struck. Thaddeus was killed in an accident at the plant. A machine malfunction. He was only 40 years old. I was 35. I thought my world had ended. I thought I would never recover from the grief. But I had 4 children who needed me. I had a mortgage to pay. I had a life to maintain. So I pushed through the pain. I took on more work. I slept less. I sacrificed more. I did whatever I had to do to keep my family together. The life insurance money from Thaddeus's death helped. It was not a fortune, but it was enough to pay off the mortgage on our house. That little house became our anchor, our security. No matter how hard things got, we always had a roof over our heads. I raised my children with love and discipline. I taught them the value of hard work. I taught them to be honest and kind and grateful. I taught them that family was the most important thing in the world. Or at least, I thought I did. My children grew up and moved out one by one. Prescott went to law school on a scholarship. He was always the ambitious one, always reaching for the top. He graduated at the top of his class and joined a prestigious firm. He married a woman named Vivienne who came from a wealthy family. They had 2 children, Brandon and Cassandra. Marlena became a doctor, a pediatrician. She married a surgeon named Dr. Elliot Foster. They had 3 children and lived in a big house in the suburbs. She was always the caring one, the one who worried about everyone else. Quentin went into business. He started his own company, something to do with technology that I never fully understood. He made a lot of money. He married a woman named Shanice and had 1 daughter named Imani. He was always the quiet one, the one who kept to himself. Delane, my youngest, became a social worker. She was the most like me, hardworking, sacrificing, always putting others first. She never married. She said she was too busy helping other people's families to start her own. I was proud of all of them, so proud of what they had achieved. But as the years passed, I started to notice changes. Subtle at first, then more obvious. Prescott became more distant. He called less often. When he did call, the conversations were short and impersonal. He stopped visiting on holidays. He sent checks instead of coming in person. Marlena was better, but not by much. She was always busy with her practice, her children, her husband. She would call on my birthday and Mother's Day, but rarely at other times. Visits were rare and rushed. Quentin was the worst. He barely contacted me at all. I would go months without hearing from him. When I called, he would say he was busy and promised to call back. He never did. Only Delane stayed close. She visited every week. She called every day. She was the only one who seemed to remember that I existed. I told myself the others were just busy. Successful people have demanding lives. They did not have time for their old mother. It did not mean they did not love me. But deep down, I knew the truth. My children had grown up and moved on. They had their own lives, their own families, their own priorities, and I was no longer at the top of the list. I was becoming invisible. Then, about a year ago, something changed. Prescott started calling more often. At first, I was happy. I thought maybe he had realized he had been neglecting me. Maybe he wanted to reconnect. But his calls were different. He asked strange questions about my health, about my finances, about the house. Mama, have you thought about what you want to do with the house when you are gone? When I am gone, Prescott, I am not going anywhere. I know, Mama, but it is good to plan ahead. Have you made a will? I have a will. Your father and I made one years ago. The house goes to all 4 of you equally. That is good, but have you thought about updating it? Things have changed since then. I did not understand what he was getting at, but something about his questions made me uncomfortable. Then Marlena started calling too, asking the same kinds of questions, about my health, about my finances, about the house. Even Quentin called, for the first time in months. He was suddenly very interested in my life, very concerned about my well-being. I should have seen the warning signs. I should have realized something was wrong. But I was so happy to hear from my children, so grateful that they were finally paying attention to me. I let my guard down. That was my mistake. The truth came out on that Tuesday afternoon, when Prescott sat in my living room and told me to go to a nursing home. You do not need anything, Mama. Go to a nursing home. Those words echoed in my head as I sat there in silence. My son wanted to take my house. My son wanted to dump me in a nursing home. My son saw me as nothing more than an obstacle between him and his inheritance. I looked at Prescott, really looked at him. This stranger wearing my son's face. This cold, calculating man who had replaced the little boy I used to tuck into bed at night. And I made a decision. I was not going to argue with him. I was not going to fight. I was not going to give him the satisfaction of seeing me break down. Instead, I was going to play along. I was going to let him think he had won. And then I was going to teach him a lesson he would never forget. "All right, Prescott," I said quietly. He blinked, surprised by my response. "All right, you mean you agree?" "I mean I will not argue with you. If you and your brothers and sister want me to go to a nursing home, I will go." Prescott looked suspicious. He had expected a fight. He had prepared for resistance. My easy surrender threw him off balance. "Just like that, you are not going to fight us." "What is the point of fighting? You said all 4 of you have already decided. What can I do against all my children?" Prescott smiled. It was an ugly, triumphant smile. "I knew you would see reason eventually, Mama. This is the right decision. You will be happier in the nursing home. You will have people your own age to talk to, activities to keep you busy. It will be good for you." "I am sure it will. I will start making arrangements tomorrow. There is a nice facility about an hour away. Clean, professional, they have an opening." "That sounds fine." Prescott stood up, clearly eager to leave before I changed my mind. "I am glad we could work this out, Mama. I will call you tomorrow with the details." "Thank you, Prescott." He walked to the door, then he paused and looked back at me. "One more thing, Mama. We will need you to sign some papers, to transfer the house into our names, for the sale." "Of course, whatever you need." He smiled again, that ugly, greedy smile. "Good, I will bring the papers tomorrow." He left. I sat alone in my living room, listening to his car drive away. Then I picked up my phone and made a call. "Delane, it is Mama. I need you to come over right now. Something terrible has happened, and I need your help." Delane arrived within the hour. She burst through the door, her face filled with worry. "Mama, what is wrong? You sounded so upset on the phone." I told her everything, about Prescott's visit, about the nursing home, about the plan to sell my house, about all 4 of my children conspiring behind my back. Delane's face went from worried to shocked to furious. "All 4 of us. Mama, I never agreed to any of this. I did not even know about it." "Prescott said you all discussed it together." "He lied. I have not spoken to Prescott in weeks. If they had a meeting about this, I was not invited." Relief flooded through me. At least one of my children had not betrayed me. "Delane, I need your help. Prescott is coming back tomorrow with papers for me to sign, papers to transfer the house. I pretended to agree so he would leave me alone, but I have no intention of signing anything." "What are you going to do?" I looked at my daughter, my loyal, loving daughter. "I am going to teach your brothers and sister a lesson about greed, a lesson about family, a lesson they will never forget." Delane sat down beside me. "What do you need me to do?" "First, I need you to call your Uncle Cornelius. He is a lawyer. I need legal advice." "Uncle Cornelius. I did not know we had an uncle who was a lawyer." "He is not really your uncle. He is my cousin. We lost touch years ago, but I heard he became a very successful attorney. Elder law, wills and estates." I smiled grimly. If anyone knows how to protect an old woman from her greedy children, it will be Cornelius. Delane squeezed my hand. "I am with you, Mama. Whatever you need, I am with you." "I know, baby. That is why you are the only one I trust." That night, after Delane left, I sat alone in my living room. The house was quiet. The same house where I had raised my children. The same house where I had celebrated birthdays and holidays and graduations. The same house where I had nursed my children through illnesses and helped them with homework and dried their tears. My children wanted to take this house from me. They wanted to throw me away like garbage so they could have their inheritance early. But they had made a mistake. They had assumed I would go quietly. They had assumed I was just a weak old woman with no fight left in her. They were wrong. I was not going to argue. I was not going to beg. I was not going to give them the satisfaction. But I was going to fight, quietly, strategically, with every ounce of strength I had left. And when I was done, they would learn a lesson about what happens when you try to throw away the mother who gave you everything. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Chapter 2. The next morning, I woke up before dawn. I had barely slept. My mind was racing with everything that had happened. My son's cruel words kept echoing in my head. You do not need anything. Go to a nursing home. But alongside the pain, there was something else growing inside me. A fire, a determination, a refusal to be pushed aside like yesterday's garbage. I got out of bed and made myself a cup of coffee, strong and black, the way Thaddeus used to like it. Then I sat at my kitchen table and made a list. A list of everything I needed to do to protect myself. First, I needed legal help. Delane had agreed to track down my cousin Cornelius. He was a lawyer who specialized in elder law. If anyone could help me navigate this situation, it would be him. Second, I needed to understand my finances. I had never been good with money. Thaddeus had always handled those things. After he died, I had done my best, but I knew there were gaps in my knowledge. Third, I needed to gather evidence. If Prescott and my other children were planning to take my house through fraud or manipulation, I needed proof. And fourth, I needed to stall. Prescott was coming back today with papers for me to sign. I had to delay him without making him suspicious. I finished my coffee and got dressed. It was going to be a long day. At 9 o'clock, my phone rang. It was Delane. Mama, I found Uncle Cornelius. Well, Cousin Cornelius. He is in the city. He said he can meet with you this afternoon. That is wonderful, baby. Where and when? His office is downtown. He said 2 o'clock works for him. I can pick you up and drive you there. Thank you, Delane. You are a blessing. Mama, there is something else. What is it? Delane hesitated. When she spoke again, her voice was heavy with anger. I called Marlena this morning. I asked her about the nursing home plan, about the meeting Prescott said they all had. What did she say? She confirmed it. She said they met 3 weeks ago, all 3 of them. Prescott, Marlena, and Quentin. They discussed your situation and decided the best course of action was to move you to a nursing home and sell the house. My heart sank, so it was true. 3 of my 4 children had conspired against me. Why was I not invited to this meeting? Marlena said they knew you would be difficult. They wanted to present you with a unified decision so you could not fight back. And she was okay with this. Marlena, the doctor, the one who took an oath to do no harm. She said it was for your own good. She said you are getting too old to live alone. She said you need professional care. I do not need professional care. I am perfectly capable of taking care of myself. I know, Mama, but they do not see it that way. They see. Delane stopped herself. What, baby? What do they see? They see the house, Mama. They see the money. That is all they see. I closed my eyes. The pain was almost unbearable. 3 of my children saw me as nothing more than an obstacle between them and their inheritance. What about you, Delane? Why were you not at this meeting? They did not invite me. Prescott said I would take your side. He said I was too soft, too sentimental to make the hard decisions. Is that true? Would you have taken my side? Of course, Mama. I will always take your side. You are my mother. I love you. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I love you too, baby. Thank you for being honest with me. I will pick you up at 1 o'clock. We are going to fix this, Mama. I promise. At 11 o'clock, Prescott arrived. He was wearing one of his expensive suits, carrying a leather briefcase. He looked like a man who had already won, a man who was just here to collect his prize. Good morning, Mama, he said cheerfully. I brought the papers. Come in, Prescott. He sat down at my kitchen table and opened his briefcase. Inside were several documents, all neatly organized with colored tabs marking where I was supposed to sign. This is the property transfer agreement, he said, pulling out the first document. It transfers ownership of the house from you to the four of us equally. I looked at the document, but did not touch it. And this is the power of attorney form. It gives me the authority to handle your affairs on your behalf. Medical decisions, financial decisions, everything. Power of attorney. That was dangerous. If I signed that, Prescott would have complete control over my life. And this is the nursing home admission form. I spoke with Shady Pines this morning. They have a room available. You can move in as early as next week. Next week? They wanted to get rid of me that quickly. Prescott, this is a lot to sign. Can I have some time to read through everything? Prescott frowned. What is there to read, Mama? These are standard forms. I have already reviewed them. Everything is in order. I am sure it is, but I would feel more comfortable if I could take my time. Maybe have someone else look at them. Someone else? Like who? I was thinking of asking Cornelius to review them. Prescott's face darkened. Cornelius? Who is Cornelius? My cousin. He is a lawyer, elder law. I thought it would be wise to have him look over the documents before I sign anything. That is not necessary, Mama. I am a lawyer. I have already reviewed everything. There is nothing to worry about. I am sure there is not, but Cornelius is family. I would like his opinion. Prescott was struggling to hide his frustration. Mama, we do not have time for this. The nursing home needs an answer by Friday. If you do not sign today, we might lose the room. Then we will find another room. Prescott, I am not signing anything until Cornelius has had a chance to look at these documents. We stared at each other across the table. Prescott's charm had vanished. His face was hard and angry. You said you would not argue. I am not arguing. I am just asking for time. This is arguing, Mama. This is exactly what I knew you would do. Prescott, I am 72 years old. You are asking me to give up my home, the home where I raised you, the home where your father and I built our life together. Is it so unreasonable that I want a few days to think about it? Prescott stood up abruptly. Fine, take your time, talk to your cousin. But do not think you can avoid this, Mama. One way or another, you are going to that nursing home, and this house is going to be sold. He gathered his papers and shoved them back into his briefcase. I will give you until Monday. If you have not signed by then, I am going to take other steps. What other steps? Prescott smiled. It was a cold, threatening smile. Let us just say I know people, judges, doctors, people who can declare an old woman incompetent if she refuses to make sensible decisions about her own care. My blood ran cold. You would have me declared incompetent. I would do whatever is necessary to protect this family's assets, even from you. He walked to the door. I will see you Monday, Mama. Make the right choice. He left, slamming the door behind him. I sat alone at my kitchen table, shaking. My own son had just threatened to have me declared incompetent, to take away my rights, to force me into a nursing home against my will. This was worse than I had imagined, much worse. At 1 o'clock, Delane arrived to pick me up. She took one look at my face and knew something had happened. Mama, what is wrong? You look like you have seen a ghost. I told her about Prescott's visit, about the papers, about his threat to have me declared incompetent. Delane's face went white with rage. He said that. He actually threatened to have you declared incompetent. He said he knows judges and doctors, people who can make it happen. That is monstrous. That is absolutely monstrous. We need to hurry, Delane. We need to see Cornelius as soon as possible. I need to know what my options are. Let us go, right now. We drove downtown in tense silence. My mind was racing with worst-case scenarios. What if Prescott really could have me declared incompetent? What if he could force me into a nursing home? What if I lost everything? I had to believe that Cornelius could help. I had to believe there was a way out of this nightmare. Cornelius Beaumont's office was on the 15th floor of a tall building downtown. He was waiting for us when we arrived. A tall, distinguished man in his late 60s with gray hair and kind eyes. He looked like Thaddeus, the same strong jaw, the same gentle smile. "Celestine," he said, embracing me, "it has been too long, far too long." "Thank you for seeing us, Cornelius." "Of course, family is family." He gestured to the chairs in front of his desk. "Please sit, tell me everything." I told him the whole story. Moving in with Prescott was never discussed, but my son wanting to force me into a nursing home, sell my house, and take my money. The papers he wanted me to sign. The threat to have me declared incompetent. Cornelius listened carefully, taking notes. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and sighed. "Celestine, what your son is trying to do is called elder financial abuse. It is illegal, and it is far more common than people realize." Can he really have me declared incompetent? He can try, but it is not as easy as he made it sound. To have someone declared incompetent, you need a court order. A judge has to review medical evidence and testimony. It is a process that takes time. But he said he knows judges. He said he knows doctors. Cornelius nodded grimly. Prescott may have connections, but connections can only take you so far. The law is still the law. And from what you have told me, there is no legitimate basis for declaring you incompetent. So what do I do? Cornelius leaned forward. First, you do not sign anything, not a single document. If Prescott brings more papers, you refuse. Tell him you need more time. Tell him you are still waiting for legal advice. He gave me until Monday. Then we need to work fast. Cornelius pulled out a legal pad. Second, we need to protect your assets, your house, your bank accounts, your investments. We need to make sure Prescott cannot touch them without your explicit consent. How do we do that? I can help you set up a trust, a revocable living trust that puts all your assets under your control, but protects them from outside interference. If your children try to take your property, they will have to go through the trust, and the trust will have provisions that make that very difficult. What kind of provisions? Provisions that require your explicit, notarized consent for any major decisions. Provisions that name an independent trustee who can block any suspicious activity. Provisions that protect you from exactly the kind of manipulation Prescott is attempting. I felt a wave of relief. So I can protect myself. Yes, but we need to act quickly. If Prescott moves first, if he manages to get you declared incompetent before we can set up protections, things become much more complicated. What do you need from me? I need copies of all your financial documents, bank statements, property deeds, investment accounts, everything. I also need a list of your assets and their approximate values. I can get those. It might take a day or two. That is fine. Bring them to me as soon as you can. Cornelius looked at me with serious eyes. Celestine, I want you to understand something. What we are about to do will protect you legally, but it may also damage your relationship with your children, possibly permanently. 3 of my children have already decided to throw me away, Cornelius. What relationship is there left to damage? He nodded sadly. I understand. I just wanted to make sure you know what you are getting into. I know, and I am ready. On the drive home, Delane was unusually quiet. Finally, she spoke. Mama, can I tell you something? Of course, baby. I am ashamed. Ashamed to be related to Prescott and Marlena and Quentin. Ashamed that they would treat you this way. It is not your fault, Delane. I know, but I still feel it. We were raised in the same house, by the same mother. How did they turn out so different from me? I thought about the question. It was something I had been asking myself for years. I do not know, baby. Sometimes children take different paths. Sometimes the same upbringing produces different results. Maybe they were always greedy and I just did not see it, or maybe life changed them. Success changed them. Money changed them. Money is not supposed to change how you treat your mother. No, it is not, but it does. For some people, money becomes more important than family, more important than love, more important than everything. Delane shook her head. I will never understand that. Never. Neither will I, baby. Neither will I. That evening, I started gathering my financial documents. It was more complicated than I expected. I had bank statements scattered in different drawers, old tax returns in boxes in the closet, investment account information that I had not looked at in years. But piece by piece, I put it together, and as I did, I started to realize something. I was wealthier than I thought. The house, of course, was valuable. Prescott had said it was worth close to $1 million, but there was more. The life insurance money from Thaddeus's death had been invested decades ago. I had mostly forgotten about it, living off my salary and Social Security, but those investments had grown significantly. There were also savings accounts, CDs that had matured and been rolled over, a small pension from my years at the hospital. When I added it all up, I was shocked. My total assets were worth over $2 million. $2 million. I had lived modestly my whole life, never realizing how much I had accumulated. No wonder my children wanted to get their hands on it. No wonder they were so eager to throw me in a nursing home and take control. But they were not going to succeed. I was going to protect every penny, and when the time came, I was going to decide who deserved to inherit it. The next morning, I received an unexpected visitor. It was Marlena. My daughter stood on my doorstep, looking uncomfortable. She was wearing casual clothes, unusual for someone who was usually so polished and professional. "Mama, can we talk?" I considered closing the door in her face, but curiosity got the better of me. "Come in, Marlena." She sat in the living room, perching on the edge of the couch like she was ready to flee at any moment. "Mama, I know Prescott came to see you. I know he told you about our plan." "The plan to dump me in a nursing home and steal my house. Yes, he mentioned it." Marlena flinched at my words. "Mama, it is not like that. We are not trying to steal anything. We are trying to help you." "Help me by taking my home, by forcing me into a facility against my will. That is your idea of help." "You are getting older, Mama. What if something happens to you? What if you fall and no one is there? What if you have another health episode?" "Then I will deal with it, like I have dealt with everything else in my life." Marlena shook her head. "You cannot deal with everything alone, Mama. That is the point. You need help, professional help." "I do not need professional help. I need my children to treat me with respect." "We do respect you. That is why we are doing this, because we love you and we want what is best for you." I laughed. It was a bitter, hollow laugh. "You love me. Then why did you have a secret meeting about my future without inviting me? Why did Prescott threaten to have me declared incompetent? Why did none of you ask me what I wanted?" Marlena was silent. She had no answer. "I will tell you why," I continued. "Because this is not about what is best for me. This is about what is best for you. You want the house. You want the money. You want your inheritance early so you do not have to wait for me to die." "Mama, that is not fair." "Is it not? Then prove me wrong, Marlena. Tell Prescott to back off. Tell him I am staying in my house. Tell him the nursing home is off the table." Marlena looked away. "I cannot do that, Mama." "Why not?" Because we have already made commitments. Prescott has been talking to a real estate agent. Quentin has been making plans for his share of the money. We cannot just walk it back." I stared at my daughter, this woman I had raised, this woman I had sacrificed for, this woman who was supposed to love me. "Get out, Marlena." "Mama, please. Get out of my house. Now." Marlena stood slowly. Her face was a mixture of guilt and defiance. "This is not over, Mama. One way or another, this is going to happen. The only question is whether you cooperate or whether we have to force you." "Then force me, because I will never cooperate. I will never give you my house. I will never go quietly to that nursing home." I pointed to the door. "Now get out, and do not come back until you remember what it means to be a daughter." Marlena left without another word. I stood in my living room, trembling with rage and sorrow. 2 of my children had now threatened me, 2 of the 4 people I had given my life to raise. But I was not defeated. I was not broken. I was just getting started. That afternoon, I brought all my financial documents to Cornelius's office. He spent 2 hours reviewing everything. When he finished, he looked up at me with amazement. "Celestine, do you realize how much you are worth?" I added it up yesterday, over $2 million. Try closer to $2.5 million. Some of these investments have appreciated more than you realized. $2.5 million, even more than I thought. Your children must know, Cornelius continued. That is why they are pushing so hard. This is not just about a house. This is about a fortune. What do we do? Cornelius smiled. We protect it, all of it, and then we make sure your children learn a very valuable lesson. He pulled out a thick folder of papers. I have drafted the trust documents. Once you sign these, your assets will be protected. No one will be able to touch them without your explicit consent. And if Prescott tries to have me declared incompetent, the trust has provisions for that too. If anyone attempts to challenge your competency, the trust automatically appoints an independent guardian who will protect your interests. Someone I know and trust. Someone who cannot be bought or influenced. I looked at the papers, my future, my protection, my weapon. Where do I sign? That evening, after signing all the documents and setting up the trust, I sat alone in my living room. I felt different, stronger, more in control. My children thought they could push me around. They thought I was just a weak old woman who would do whatever they said. They were about to find out how wrong they were. But as I sat there, thinking about everything that had happened, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered cautiously. Hello. Mrs. Beaumont, this is Dr. Patricia Hawthorne from Shady Pines Nursing Facility. I am calling about your admission. My blood ran cold. My admission? I have not agreed to any admission. That is strange. Your son Prescott was here this morning. He paid the deposit and completed all the paperwork. He said you would be arriving on Monday. Prescott had already paid the deposit. He had already completed the paperwork, without my consent, without my signature. Dr. Hawthorne, there has been a terrible mistake. I am not coming to Shady Pines. Not on Monday, not ever. I see. Well, that is certainly unexpected. Your son seemed very certain. My son does not speak for me. I speak for myself. And I am telling you right now, I will not be coming to your facility. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Mrs. Beaumont, I should tell you something. Your son mentioned that you might be resistant. He said you have been showing signs of confusion and memory loss. He said you might not understand what is best for you. Confusion and memory loss. Prescott was already laying the groundwork, already preparing to have me declared incompetent. Dr. Hawthorne, I assure you, I am in complete control of my faculties. My son is lying. He is trying to take my property and force me into a nursing home against my will. Another pause. I see, that is, a very serious accusation. It is a very serious situation. I would appreciate it if you would refund my son's deposit and remove my name from your records. I will look into it, Mrs. Beaumont, but I should warn you. Your son has already signed you up for a cognitive assessment. A doctor will be coming to evaluate you on Monday morning. A cognitive assessment. A doctor coming to my house to declare me incompetent. Who authorized this assessment? Your son. He claimed to have medical power of attorney. Medical power of attorney. Prescott did not have medical power of attorney. I had never signed anything giving him that power. Dr. Hawthorne, my son does not have medical power of attorney over me. Whatever documents he showed you are forged. That is a very serious accusation, Mrs. Beaumont. It is the truth, and I will be contacting my lawyer first thing tomorrow morning. I hung up the phone, my hands shaking. Prescott had forged documents. He had claimed powers he did not have. He was moving faster than I expected, trying to trap me before I could defend myself. But he did not know about Cornelius. He did not know about the trust. He did not know that I was already 3 steps ahead of him. The cognitive assessment was scheduled for Monday. That gave me 3 days to prepare. 3 days to turn the tables on my own son. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The moment I hung up the phone with Dr. Hawthorne, I called Cornelius. It was late, almost 9 o'clock at night, but he answered immediately. "Celestine, what is wrong?" I told him about the phone call, about the deposit Prescott had paid, about the cognitive assessment scheduled for Monday, about Prescott claiming to have medical power of attorney. Cornelius listened in silence. When I finished, his voice was tight with controlled anger. "This is exactly what I was afraid of. Prescott is moving faster than we anticipated. He is trying to establish a paper trail that makes you look incompetent before you can defend yourself. What do we do?" "First, do not panic. Prescott may have made a deposit and scheduled an assessment, but that does not mean anything legally binding has happened. You have not been declared incompetent. You have not signed any documents giving him power over you." "But he forged documents. He claimed to have medical power of attorney." "That is a serious crime. Forging legal documents is fraud. If we can prove he did it, Prescott could face criminal charges." "How do we prove it?" "We need to get copies of whatever documents he showed the nursing home. I will call Dr. Hawthorne first thing tomorrow morning and request them. If the documents are forged, it will be obvious. Your signature will not match. The notarization will be invalid." "And the cognitive assessment on Monday?" "You have 2 options. You can refuse to participate. You have the right to decline any medical evaluation, but that might make you look like you have something to hide." "What is the other option?" "You participate. You show the doctor that you are completely competent. You answer every question correctly. You prove beyond any doubt that Prescott's claims are lies." I thought about it. Refusing the assessment might seem suspicious, but participating meant letting a stranger into my home to judge my mental fitness. What if the doctor is in Prescott's pocket? What if he is paid to declare me incompetent regardless of how I perform? Cornelius was quiet for a moment. "That is a valid concern. Prescott said he knows doctors. He might have arranged for a friendly evaluator." "So what do I do?" "We bring our own doctor, someone independent, someone who can observe the assessment and provide a second opinion. If Prescott's doctor tries to lie, our doctor can challenge the findings." "Do you know someone?" "I do. A colleague of mine, Dr. Evelyn Rutherford. She is a geriatric psychiatrist with an impeccable reputation. She has testified in dozens of competency cases. If she says you are competent, no judge in the country will disagree." "Can you call her?" "I will call her right now. Get some sleep, Celestine. You are going to need your strength for Monday." I did not sleep well that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that was happening. My own children were trying to destroy me, to take my home, to steal my money, to lock me away in a nursing home so they could enjoy their inheritance while I rotted away. How had it come to this? Where had I gone wrong? I thought back over the years. Had I been too lenient with my children, too generous? Had I given them so much that they felt entitled to everything I had? Or was it something else, something darker? Had Prescott, Marlena, and Quentin always been this way, and I had just refused to see it? I remembered Prescott as a child, always wanting more, always comparing what he had to what other children had, never satisfied, never grateful. I remembered Marlena, always calculating, always strategic. Even as a little girl, she would figure out how to get what she wanted through manipulation rather than asking directly. I remembered Quentin, quiet, watchful, following his older siblings' lead rather than thinking for himself. And then there was Delane, sweet, loyal Delane, the only one who seemed to have inherited my values, the only one who remembered what family meant. How could 4 children raised in the same house turn out so differently? I did not have an answer. Maybe I never would. Friday morning, Cornelius called with an update. "I spoke with Dr. Hawthorne at Shady Pines. She is sending me copies of the documents Prescott submitted. She sounded concerned. I think she suspects something is not right. What about Dr. Rutherford? She has agreed to be present at Monday's assessment. She will observe and provide her own evaluation. If Prescott's doctor tries anything underhanded, she will catch it. Thank you, Cornelius. I do not know what I would do without you. You would figure something out, Celestine. You are stronger than you realize. I hoped he was right. That afternoon, Delane came to visit. She brought groceries and lunch. We sat at my kitchen table, eating sandwiches and talking about the situation. Mama, I have been doing some research, Delane said, about elder abuse, about what Prescott is trying to do. What did you find? It is more common than I realized. Adult children manipulating their elderly parents to get their inheritance early, using legal tricks to take control of their assets, forcing them into nursing homes so they can sell their property. And what happens to the parents? Delane's face darkened. Most of them do not survive long. Once they are in the nursing home, away from their support systems, they decline quickly. Some die within months. My blood ran cold. Prescott knows this. He is counting on it. Mama, we cannot let him win. We cannot let him put you in that place. We will not, baby. Cornelius is helping me. We have a plan. What kind of plan? I told Delane about the trust, about the protected assets, about Dr. Rutherford and the independent evaluation on Monday. When I finished, Delane looked relieved but still worried. That all sounds good, Mama, but what about after Monday? Even if you pass the assessment, Prescott is not going to give up. He will find another way to come after you. I know. That is why I am going to take the fight to him. What do you mean? I leaned forward. Prescott forged documents. He claimed to have medical power of attorney when he does not. That is fraud. That is a crime. You are going to report him to the police. If I have to. But first, I am going to give him a chance to back down. A chance to walk away before this destroys him. You think he will take it? I shook my head. No, Prescott is too arrogant, too greedy. He will double down. He will think he can still win. So why give him a chance at all? Because he is still my son. Despite everything he has done, he is still my child. I have to give him one more opportunity to do the right thing. Delane reached across the table and took my hand. You are a better person than he deserves, Mama. Maybe. Or maybe I am just a foolish old woman who still loves her children too much. There is nothing foolish about love, Mama. Love is the strongest thing there is. Saturday passed quietly. I spent the day organizing my thoughts, preparing for Monday, going over the questions I might be asked during the cognitive assessment. I practiced remembering lists of words. I practiced counting backward from 100 by sevens. I practiced drawing clocks and nomming the days of the week in reverse order. Silly exercises, but if Prescott's doctor was looking for any sign of confusion, I was not going to give him one. Sunday morning, I went to church. It was the first time I had been out of the house in days. The fresh air felt good. The familiar faces of my church family felt comforting. After the service, my friend Henrietta pulled me aside. Celestine, honey, I heard something troubling, something about your son Prescott. My heart sank. Word was already spreading. What did you hear, Henrietta? I heard he has been telling people you are losing your mind. He has been saying you cannot take care of yourself anymore. He has been saying he is going to have to put you in a nursing home. And what do people believe? Henrietta snorted. Nobody who knows you believes that nonsense. You are sharp as a tack, Celestine. Everyone can see that. Thank you, Henrietta. That means a lot. But honey, you need to be careful. Prescott is up to something. I can feel it in my bones. I know he is, and I am prepared. Henrietta hugged me tight. You let me know if you need anything at all. The ladies of this church will rally around you. We take care of our own. I hugged her back, fighting tears. Thank you, Henrietta. I may take you up on that. Sunday afternoon, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Quentin. My quiet, withdrawn son, the one who barely contacted me, the one who followed his older sibling's lead. Mama, we need to talk. So talk, Quentin. There was a long pause. Mama, I want you to know that I did not agree with all of this. The nursing home, the house, Prescott pushing you so hard. But you went along with it. I did, and I am not proud of that, but Prescott can be very persuasive. He made it sound so reasonable, so logical. Logical to steal your mother's home and throw her away. Another pause. When you put it that way, it sounds terrible. It sounds terrible because it is terrible, Quentin. I know. That is why I am calling. I want to help. Help how? I know things, Mama. Things about Prescott's plan. Things he has not told you. My pulse quickened. What kind of things? He has already found a buyer for the house. A developer who wants to tear it down and build condos. He is offering $1.2 million. $1.2 million. More than Prescott had told me the house was worth. What else? The nursing home he picked, Shady Pines, it is not what it seems. On the surface, it looks nice, but there have been complaints, neglect, abuse, residents dying under suspicious circumstances. My blood ran cold. He wanted to send me to a place like that. He said it did not matter. He said you would not last long anyway. He said the sooner you died, the sooner we could divide the money. I felt sick. My own son had discussed my death so casually, so coldly. Quentin, why are you telling me this? Another long pause. Because I cannot live with myself anymore. Because what we are doing is wrong. Because you are our mother and you deserve better than this. What about Marlena? Does she feel the same way? Marlena is too far gone. She is deep in debt. She needs the money desperately. She will do whatever Prescott says. And Prescott only cares about one thing, himself. He does not love you, Mama. I am not sure he ever did. The words cut like a knife, but they confirmed what I already knew. Quentin, if you really want to help, I need you to do something. Anything. I need you to get me copies of any documents Prescott has, contracts with the developer, communications about the nursing home, anything that shows what he is really planning. That could be dangerous if Prescott finds out I am helping you. Then be careful. But Quentin, this is your chance to do the right thing, your chance to be the son I raised you to be. Silence on the line. I could almost hear him thinking. Okay, Mama, I will do it. I will get you what you need. Thank you, Quentin. I know this is not easy. It is not, but it is right, and that is what matters. He hung up. I sat in my living room, processing this new development. Quentin was switching sides. He was going to help me fight against Prescott. Maybe there was hope for at least one more of my children. Monday morning arrived. I was up before dawn, preparing for the cognitive assessment. I dressed carefully, a nice blouse, comfortable pants, simple jewelry. I wanted to look put together, but not like I was trying too hard. At 9 o'clock, Delane arrived. How are you feeling, Mama? Nervous, but ready. Dr. Rutherford is on her way. She will be here before Prescott's doctor arrives. Good. At 9:30, Dr. Evelyn Rutherford knocked on my door. She was a small woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. She radiated competence and authority. Mrs. Beaumont, I am Dr. Rutherford. Cornelius has told me everything. I am here to make sure you get a fair evaluation. Thank you for coming. I should tell you, I have dealt with cases like this before. Children trying to have their parents declared incompetent for financial gain. It is despicable, and I do not let it happen on my watch. I liked her immediately. At 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang again. Delane answered it. Standing on my porch was a man I did not recognize. Tall, thin, cold eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. I am Dr. Harold Vance. I am here to conduct a cognitive assessment of Mrs. Celestine Beaumont. Behind him, I could see Prescott's car parked at the curb. My son was sitting inside, watching, waiting. Come in, Dr. Vance, I said calmly. We have been expecting you. Dr. Vance stepped inside and froze when he saw Dr. Rutherford. Who is this? This is Dr. Evelyn Rutherford. She is an independent observer. She will be watching the assessment to ensure fairness. Dr. Vance's face tightened. That is highly irregular. This is supposed to be a private evaluation. There is nothing in the law that prevents an independent observer from being present, Dr. Rutherford said smoothly. Unless, of course, you have something to hide. Dr. Vance glared at her but said nothing. Shall we begin? I asked. The assessment lasted 2 hours. Dr. Vance asked me every question in the book. What day is it? Who is the president? Count backward from 100 by sevens. Remember these 5 words and repeat them back to me in 10 minutes. I answered every question correctly. I did not hesitate. I did not stumble. I was sharp, focused, and completely in control. Throughout the assessment, Dr. Rutherford watched carefully. She took notes. She asked occasional clarifying questions. Dr. Vance grew increasingly frustrated. His questions became more complicated, more obscure. He was clearly trying to trip me up. But I did not falter. I had prepared. I was ready. Finally, Dr. Vance set down his clipboard. I believe I have enough information to make my assessment. And what is your assessment, Dr. Vance? Dr. Rutherford asked. Dr. Vance hesitated. He looked at me. He looked at Dr. Rutherford. He looked at Delane. My assessment is that Mrs. Beaumont shows no signs of cognitive impairment. Relief flooded through me. She is fully competent and capable of making her own decisions. Dr. Rutherford smiled. I concur completely. Mrs. Beaumont is one of the sharpest 72-year-olds I have ever met. Dr. Vance gathered his papers and headed for the door. I will submit my report to the appropriate parties. Good day. He left without another word. I watched through the window as he walked to Prescott's car. They talked for several minutes. I could see Prescott's face through the windshield. He looked furious. Good. That afternoon, Prescott came back. He did not bother knocking. He just walked in like he owned the place. You think you are clever, Mama. Bringing in your own doctor, making a fool out of me. I did not make a fool out of you, Prescott. You did that yourself. This is not over. Just because one doctor says you are competent does not mean anything. I can get other opinions. I can find other doctors. Go ahead, find as many doctors as you want. They will all say the same thing because I am competent, I am sharp, and I am not going anywhere. Prescott stepped closer, his face twisted with rage. You think you can fight me. You think you can win. I am a lawyer, Mama. I know the system. I know how to work it. And I know something you do not know, Prescott. What is that? I pulled out a folder. Inside were the documents Cornelius had obtained from Shady Pines, the forged medical power of attorney, the false signatures. I know that you committed fraud. I know that you forged legal documents. I know that you could go to prison for what you have done. Prescott's face went pale. Where did you get those? It does not matter where I got them. What matters is what I do with them. I looked him straight in the eyes. You have one chance, Prescott. One chance to walk away. Drop this scheme. Leave me in my house alone, and I will not report you to the police. You would not. Try me. We stared at each other, mother and son, victim and predator. Finally, Prescott spoke. This is not over, Mama. Not by a long shot. He turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I knew he was right. This was not over. Prescott would be back. He would find another way to come after me. But I was ready. I had allies. I had evidence. I had the truth on my side. And I had one more weapon, one more secret that Prescott did not know about. Because Quentin had called me that morning, just before the assessment, he had found something in Prescott's files. Something that would change everything. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. That evening, Quentin came to my house. He looked nervous, frightened. like a man who knew he was betraying dangerous people. But there was also something else in his eyes: determination, resolve. He was carrying a thick manila envelope. "Mama, I found what you asked for, and more." We sat at my kitchen table. Delane was there too. So was Cornelius, who had driven over as soon as I called him. Quentin opened the envelope and spread the documents across the table. I went through Prescott's home office while he and Vivienne were at a dinner party. I found these hidden in a locked drawer. I looked at the papers: bank statements, contracts, emails printed out and highlighted. "What am I looking at, Quentin?" "Evidence, Mama. Evidence of everything Prescott has been planning. And evidence of something much worse." Cornelius picked up one of the documents. His eyebrows rose. "This is a contract with a real estate developer for the sale of your property, Celestine, dated 3 months ago." 3 months ago, but Prescott only approached me about the nursing home last week. Exactly. He has been planning this for months. He already has a buyer lined up. He already has plans for what to do with the money. Quentin pointed to another document. "Look at this, Mama. It is a breakdown of how Prescott planned to divide the proceeds from selling your house." I read the paper. My blood ran cold. According to the document, Prescott was planning to keep 60% of the sale price for himself. Marlena and Quentin would each get 15%. Delane was listed as receiving only 5%. Why would Delane get so little? "Because Prescott knew she would not cooperate," Quentin said. "He planned to cut her out as much as possible." "And you and Marlena were okay with this?" Quentin looked ashamed. "I did not know the exact percentages until I found this document. Prescott always said we would split everything equally. He lied to us too." Cornelius was flipping through more papers. "Celestine, this gets worse. Look at this." He handed me a bank statement. It was from an account I did not recognize, an account in Prescott's name. "What is this?" "Look at the deposits." I scanned the statement. There were deposits totaling over $400,000 over the past 2 years. Where did this money come from? Cornelius pointed to a line item. "This deposit here, $150,000. It matches exactly with a withdrawal from your investment account on the same date." I felt dizzy. He has already been stealing from me. "It appears so. Prescott has been siphoning money from your accounts for at least 2 years, small amounts at first, then larger ones." "But how? I never authorized any withdrawals." Cornelius pulled out another document. "Because of this, it is a power of attorney form, dated 3 years ago. It gives Prescott full control over your financial accounts." I stared at the document. My signature was at the bottom. But I had never signed it. I had never seen it before. "It is a forgery," I whispered, "just like the medical power of attorney." "Yes, Prescott has been forging your signature for years, using that authority to steal from you bit by bit." I sat back in my chair, overwhelmed. My son had not just been planning to steal my house. He had already been stealing from me for years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, gone. "How much?" I asked. "How much has he taken?" Cornelius did the calculations. "Based on these records, approximately $420,000 over the past 3 years. $420,000, nearly $500,000. "Mama, there is more," Quentin said quietly. "More? What else could there possibly be?" Quentin pulled out one final document. It was an email printout, from Prescott to someone named Victor Salerno. "Who is Victor Salerno?" I asked. "He is the owner of Shady Pines Nursing Home, and according to this email, he and Prescott have a special arrangement." I read the email. Each word was like a knife in my heart. "Victor, everything is on track. The old woman will be in your facility by the end of the month. I need you to make sure she is in the memory care unit, the one with limited visitor access. I do not want my sister causing problems. Once she is in, I need you to accelerate her decline. You know what I mean. The usual protocol. I want this wrapped up within 6 months. In exchange, You will receive your usual fee, 20% of the estate value. That should be around 400,000, maybe more. Let me know if there are any issues. Prescott. I read the email twice to make sure I understood. Accelerate her decline, wrapped up within 6 months, the usual protocol. Prescott was not just planning to put me in a nursing home. He was planning to have me killed. The room was silent. Delane was crying. Quentin looked sick. Even Cornelius, the experienced lawyer, seemed shaken. He was going to murder you, Mama, Delane whispered. His own mother. I could not speak. The betrayal was too deep. The pain was too raw. My son, the child I had carried in my womb, the baby I had nursed, the boy I had sacrificed everything for. He had been planning my death, for money. Cornelius was the first to recover. Celestine, we need to go to the police. Tonight. This is not just elder abuse anymore. This is conspiracy to commit murder. I know, I said quietly, but I need a moment, just a moment to process this. Of course, take all the time you need. I sat in silence, staring at the email. The words blurred through my tears. How had it come to this? Where had I failed so completely as a mother? I thought about all the years I had worked, all the sacrifices I had made, all the love I had poured into my children. And this was my reward: theft, betrayal, a plot to murder me for my money. But somewhere, deep inside the pain, something else was stirring. Something hard, something fierce. Anger. Not the helpless, crying kind of anger. The kind that burns cold and bright. The kind that demands justice. Prescott had tried to destroy me. He had stolen my money. He had forged my signature. He had planned my death. But he had failed. I was still here. Still fighting, still alive. And now, I was going to make him pay for everything he had done. We went to the police that night. Detective Marcus Redford of the Financial Crimes Unit listened as we laid out the evidence. The forged documents, the stolen money, the email discussing my murder. His face grew darker with each revelation. Mrs. Beaumont, what you are describing is a criminal conspiracy of the highest order. Multiple counts of fraud, forgery, elder abuse, and conspiracy to commit murder. Can you arrest my son? Based on this evidence, absolutely. We will need to verify everything, of course. But if these documents are authentic, your son is looking at decades in prison. What about Victor Salerno, the nursing home owner? We will investigate him as well. If he has been involved in accelerating the deaths of residents, he could be facing multiple murder charges. Detective Redford stood up. Mrs. Beaumont, I want you to know that cases like this are rare. Children conspiring to kill their parents for money, but they are not unheard of, and we take them very seriously. Thank you, Detective. I am going to need you to stay available for questioning over the next few days, and I would recommend having someone stay with you at all times, just in case. My daughter Delane will be with me. Good, we will be in touch. The arrests happened the next morning. Prescott was taken into custody at his law firm. According to the news reports, he was in the middle of a meeting with clients when the police arrived. He was handcuffed in front of his colleagues and led out in shame. Marlena was arrested at her medical practice. She was less prominent in the conspiracy, but she had known about the forged documents and done nothing. That made her an accessory. Victor Salerno was arrested at Shady Pines. The police found evidence of multiple suspicious deaths at the facility. Deaths that had been ruled natural, but were now being reinvestigated. I watched the news coverage from my living room. Delane was beside me, holding my hand. It is over, Mama, she said. They cannot hurt you anymore. I know, baby, but it does not feel like a victory. It feels like a funeral. A funeral for what? For the family I thought I had. For the son I thought I knew. For all the years I spent believing in people who were only pretending to love me. Delane squeezed my hand. You still have me, Mama, and Quentin. He is trying to make things right. I know, and I am grateful for both of you. The trial began 4 months later. It was a media sensation. a prominent lawyer accused of conspiring to murder his elderly mother for her inheritance. The courtroom was packed every day. The prosecution laid out the evidence methodically. The forged documents, the stolen money, the email to Victor Salerno. Witness after witness testified to Prescott's greed and cruelty. Prescott's defense was weak. His lawyers tried to claim that the email was taken out of context, that accelerate her decline was just a figure of speech, that he never intended any real harm. No one believed them. I testified on the third day of the trial. I sat in the witness stand and looked at my son. He was pale and thin, dressed in a suit that no longer fit properly. Prison had not been kind to him. But I did not feel pity. I only felt sadness. Sadness for the boy he used to be, sadness for the man he had become. The prosecutor led me through my testimony. I told the jury everything. The years of sacrifice, the love I had given my children. The moment Prescott told me I did not need anything and should go to a nursing home. "Mrs. Beaumont," the prosecutor asked, "can you describe how you felt when you learned your son was planning to have you killed?" I took a deep breath. I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I had given that boy everything I had, and he was planning to throw me away like garbage so he could have my money. Did you ever imagine your son was capable of something like this? No, never. I thought I knew my children. I thought I had raised them right, but I was wrong, at least about some of them. What would you want the jury to understand about this case? I looked at the 12 men and women who would decide my son's fate. I want them to understand that this is not just about money. This is about trust, about family, about what happens when greed corrupts the people who are supposed to love you. I paused. I want them to understand that no mother should ever have to sit in a courtroom and testify against her own child. No mother should ever have to learn that her son was planning her murder. Tears were streaming down my face. But I also want them to understand that justice matters, that protecting the vulnerable matters, that even when it breaks your heart, you have to stand up and speak the truth. I looked at Prescott. I loved you, son. I will always love you, but I cannot protect you from the consequences of what you have done. You made your choices. Now you have to live with them. The courtroom was silent. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Prescott was convicted of fraud, forgery, elder abuse, theft, and conspiracy to commit murder. He was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison. He would be 97 years old before he was eligible for parole. Marlena was convicted of being an accessory to fraud and elder abuse. She received 10 years. She would lose her medical license. Her career was over. Victor Salerno was convicted of multiple counts of murder. The investigation revealed that at least 7 residents of Shady Pines had died under suspicious circumstances over the past 5 years. He received life in prison without the possibility of parole. When the verdicts were read, I did not celebrate. I did not feel triumph. I only felt grief. Grief for the son I had lost. Grief for the family that had been destroyed. Grief for all the years of love that had been wasted on people who did not deserve it. But underneath the grief, there was also something else. Relief. It was over. The nightmare was finally over. I was safe. My home was safe. My remaining family was safe. And I could finally start to heal. After the trial, life slowly returned to normal. I stayed in my house, the house Thaddeus and I had built together. The house where I had raised my children, the house that held all my memories. Delane visited every day. She had moved to an apartment just a few blocks away so she could be close to me. She helped me with groceries, with doctor's appointments, with all the small tasks of daily life. Quentin visited every week. He was trying hard to make amends. He had testified for the prosecution, providing crucial evidence against Prescott. He had quit his business and started volunteering with organizations that help elderly abuse victims. "I cannot undo what I almost did, Mama," he told me one Sunday afternoon. "But I can try to make it right. I can try to help other people who are going through what you went through." That is all anyone can ask, baby. Keep trying, keep growing. That is all any of us can do. 1 year after the trial, I made a decision. I called a meeting. Delane, Quentin, Cornelius, and a few close friends from church. We gathered in my living room, the same room where Prescott had told me I did not need anything. I have been thinking about my will, I said, about what will happen to my estate when I am gone. Mama, you do not have to talk about this now, Delane said. Yes, I do. What happened with Prescott taught me that I cannot leave these things to chance. I need to be clear about my wishes. I pulled out a document that Cornelius had helped me prepare. I am leaving everything to a charitable trust. The money will be used to help elderly victims of financial abuse, to provide legal services, housing, counseling, to make sure what happened to me does not happen to others. Delane and Quentin exchanged glances. Everything, Mama, Quentin asked. Everything, the house, the investments, all of it. But what about us? I looked at my 2 remaining children, the ones who had stayed loyal, the ones who had helped me survive. You do not need my money. You are both capable of taking care of yourselves, and you have something more valuable than any inheritance. What is that? My love, my blessing, my knowledge that you stood by me when it mattered most. Tears were forming in Delane's eyes. You have proven yourselves, I continued. You have shown me what family really means. That is worth more than any amount of money. Mama, are you sure about this? Delane asked. I am sure. I have seen what money does to people. I have seen how greed can corrupt even the people you love most. I do not want my estate to be a source of conflict or temptation. I want it to do good in the world. Quentin nodded slowly. I understand, Mama, and I support your decision. So do I, Delane said. If this is what you want, then this is what we will do. I smiled at my children, my loyal, loving children. Thank you, Bobbies. Thank you for understanding. 2 years after the trial, I received a letter from Prescott. It was the first communication I had received from him since his conviction. The prison allowed 1 letter per month to family members. I almost threw it away without reading it, but something made me open the envelope. Dear Mama, I do not expect you to read this. I do not expect you to forgive me, but I needed to write anyway. I have had a lot of time to think in here, a lot of time to reflect on what I did, and I finally understand how wrong I was. I told myself I deserved your money. I told myself you did not need it. I told myself I was just taking what would be mine eventually. But those were lies. Lies I told myself to justify my greed. The truth is, I was selfish, I was cruel, I was a monster. I took the mother who sacrificed everything for me and treated her like an obstacle to be removed. I planned her death like it was just another business transaction. There are no words to express how ashamed I am, no apology that can make up for what I did. But I want you to know that I am trying to change. I am in therapy. I am attending programs for rehabilitation. I am trying to understand how I became the person who could do such terrible things. I do not ask for your forgiveness. I do not deserve it. But I hope someday you can find peace. I hope someday you can remember the boy I used to be, not the monster I became. I love you, Mama. I always have. Even when I was doing terrible things, some part of me still loved you. I am sorry. I am so deeply, terribly sorry. Your son, Prescott. I read the letter 3 times. Was it genuine? Or was it just another manipulation, another attempt to play on my emotions? I did not know. I might never know. But I decided to write back anyway. Dear Prescott, I received your letter. I read it carefully. I do not know if I can ever forgive you. What you did was beyond cruel. It was evil. And the scars you left will be with me for the rest of my life. But I am glad you are trying to change. I am glad you are seeking help. I hope someday you will become the man I always hoped you could be. I do not hate you, Prescott. I never could. You are my son. You are part of me. Even after everything you did, that connection cannot be broken. But I cannot have you in my life. Not now, maybe not ever. The trust is gone. The safety is gone. All that remains is the memory of what you tried to do. I hope you find peace in prison. I hope you find redemption. I hope you become someone worthy of the sacrifices I made for you. But I cannot wait for that to happen. I have to live my own life. I have to find my own peace. Goodbye, Prescott. I will always love the boy you were, even if I can never forgive the man you became. Your mother. Celestine. I sent the letter and closed that chapter of my life. Today, 5 years after that terrible day when Prescott told me I did not need anything, I am still here. I am 77 years old. My hair is white. My body is slower than it used to be, but my mind is sharp. My spirit is strong. My heart is full. I live in the same house, the house Thaddeus built, the house where I raised my children, the house that almost cost me my life. But it is mine. It has always been mine, and it will remain mine until the day I choose to leave it. Delane visits every day. She married a wonderful man named Gerald last year. They had a late-in-life baby, a beautiful girl named Hope. I am a grandmother again. Quentin visits every week. He runs a non-profit organization that helps elderly abuse victims. He has helped hundreds of people stay safe from predatory family members. He has become the son I always hoped he would be. And me, I spend my days in peace. I tend my garden. I go to church. I play with my granddaughter. I tell stories to anyone who will listen. Stories about love, about sacrifice, about the importance of standing up for yourself even when the people hurting you are the ones who are supposed to love you most. If you are watching this story, I want you to tell you something important. Never let anyone tell you that you do not need anything. Never let anyone convince you that your life is worth less than theirs. Never let anyone push you aside because they want what you have. You matter. Your home matters. Your dignity matters. When my son told me I did not need anything, that I should just go to a nursing home, I did not argue. Not because I agreed with him, but because I knew that arguing would not change his mind. Instead, I planned. I gathered allies. I built my case. And when the time was right, I struck back. Not with anger, not with violence, but with truth, with evidence, with the law on my side. And I won. You can win too. No matter how powerful the people against you seem, no matter how alone you feel, there are people who will help you. There are resources available. There is always a way to fight back. Do not give up. Do not surrender. Do not let the people who want to hurt you win. You are stronger than you know, braver than you feel, more resilient than anyone imagines. And you deserve to live your life on your own terms. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to my story. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to this channel. Press that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Press the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. I want to know who is here with me. I want to see how big our family can grow. Until next time, take care of yourselves, love your families, stand up for your rights, and never, ever let anyone tell you that you do not need anything. Because you need everything, and you deserve everything.